2.2.4, which is titled The Tangent Ratio, and it's on pages 24 and 25. Be sure to have open your Desmos Scientific Calculator, and we're going to be answering the question, what about other right triangles? Okay, so for question 101, we're looking at some friends here. So Tiana, Maylin, Eddie, and Amy are looking at the triangle at right and trying to determine the missing side length. Tiana declares, hey, we can rotate the triangle so that the 18 degrees looks like a slope triangle, and then the change in y is 4. Will her method work? If so, use her method to solve for A. If not, explain why. Okay? So yes, we're going to turn or rotate her triangle so that the 18 is facing this direction. That means that the 4 is the change in y. The A is the change in x. We know that the ratio is 1/3 or 18 degrees. And so we can set up this proportion. 1/3 equals 4 over A. That's our proportion. Then we do our cross product. 1 times A is 1A. 3 times 4 is 12. So A is equal to 12. For part B, it says, Maylin says, I see it differently. I can tell the change in y is 4 without turning the triangle. How can she tell? Explain one way she could know. Okay? In this case, the change in y is opposite whatever the slope angle they're giving you. So if they're giving you the 18 degrees, you just want to look opposite of wherever it's at. Okay? So this keyword, opposite, go ahead and underline it. All right? Part C, Eddie replies, what if we use 72 degrees as our slope angle? Then the change in x would be equal to 4. What is he talking about? Discuss with your team and explain using pictures and words. Okay? So we saw a problem like this the other day, where instead of giving us 18, you would subtract 18 from 90 to get the 72. These are called complements of each other. 18 and 72 are complements. So if this angle is 18, this angle is 72, which means that the 12, if the change in x, is going to switch. Okay? Part D says, use Eddie's observation in part C to confirm your answer for part A. Okay, so instead of using 1/3 like we did up here, we use 3 over 1, and we say it's equal to A over 4, and so we set up our proportion upside down, the opposite of how we did up in A, but our cross product is still the same. 1 times A is 1A, 3 times 4 is 12. So it's just solving it a different way. Okay? Any questions on problem 101? Okay. Question 102 says, using a scientific calculator, examine the triangle at right. According to the triangle at right, what is the slope ratio for 32 degrees? Explain how you decided to set up the ratio. Write the ratio in both fraction and decimal form. Okay? So for the angle for 32 degrees, I'm going to highlight it here in pink. We want to use the side opposite, which is 5. That would be our change in y, over the side that we're going to call adjacent, is opposite the 58, as our change in x. Okay? You're going to type it into your calculator. And here's what you type. 5 divided by 8. You hit the equal sign, and then you write down the decimal right here. Do that right now with your scientific calculator. 5 divided by 8, hit the equals, and then write down the decimal. Okay? Now we're going to switch angles. So for part B, it says, what is the slope ratio for the 58-degree angle? And how do you know? Okay? So now we're going to highlight this one in purple instead of pink. That means the opposite would be 8, so that's our change in y. And the side next to it, or adjacent, is our 5. That's going to be our change in x. So for this one, you're going to type in your calculator 8 divided by 5, hit the equal sign, and then you're going to write down the decimal for that one. Okay? So in your Desmos scientific calculator, you type 8 divided by 5 and write down the decimal. All right, part C says, scientific calculators have a button that will give the slope ratio when the slope angle is entered. In part A, you calculated the slope ratio for 32 degrees. Check and make sure that you wrote down 0.625. How many of you wrote down 0.625? Perfect, good. Use the tangent button on your calculator to verify that you get approximately 0.25 when you enter 32 degrees. Okay? So you're going to type the tangent button, then you're going to type in 32, hit the equals, and you should get the same number. Did you get the same number? Yes, you did. Does that button give you approximately 1.60 when you enter the tangent of 58 degrees? Be ready to help your teammates find the button and use the button on their calculator. Okay? Part D. The ratio in a right triangle that you have been studying is referred to as the tangent ratio. If you have a highlighter, go ahead and highlight the word tangent ratio. If you don't have a highlighter, go ahead and circle it. When you want to determine the slope ratio of an angle, such as 32 degrees, it is written as the tangent of 32 degrees. So an equation for this triangle can be written as the tangent of 32 degrees equals 5/8. They want us to write an equation for the right triangle using the tangent of 58. So for the tangent of 58, we're going to write 8/5. Any questions on part D? Anybody still writing? No? Okay. Flip over to the top of page 5. Bless you. Up at the top of page 5 is question 103. For each triangle below, we're going to label its legs as change in y and change in x based on the given slope angle. Then write an equation such as the tangent of 14 degrees equals x/5. Then you're going to use your scientific calculator to compute a slope ratio for the given angle and solve for x. Okay? So for part A, they give us the angle 38 degrees. That means that the angle opposite is our x. That's going to be our change in y. That's going to go in the numerator. Right now there's an x there. And our 8 our change in x. That's going to go in the denominator where the 8 is at. Okay? So x over 8 is our ratio. We're going to set that equal to the tangent of 38 degrees. Okay? I make it into a proportion simply by putting a 1 in the denominator, and then we do the cross product. So 1 times x is 1x. 8 times the tangent of 38 is 8 times the tangent of 38. You type it into your scientific calculator on Desmos. You hit the equal sign, and you will get approximately 6.25. Okay? So on your scientific calculator right now, you're going to type in 8 times the tangent of 38, and you will get 6.25. Right? Raise your hand if you got 6.25 from typing it in. Perfect. Okay? When we break up into our groups, if other people in your group don't know how to see it, those of you that have your raise your hand are going to show them how to do it. Okay? Let's do part B. Okay? So in part B, they give us the 73-degree angle. The side opposite it is the 9. That's our change in y. So that goes in the numerator. The other side, there's an x there right now. That's going to be our change in x. So that goes in the denominator. We set that equal to the tangent of 73. Then we make it into a fraction by simply putting a 1 in the denominator. Okay? That gives us our proportion so we can do our cross product. For our cross product, we're going to multiply x times the tangent of 73, set it equal to 1 times 9. To get the x by itself, we have to divide by the tangent of 73. So this time's a little bit trickier to type in the calculator, but you've got the Desmos scientific calculator. So you're going to type 9 divided by the tangent of 73, hit the equal sign, and you will get approximately 2.75. Okay? There's one more for your group to do. You're in your group of 4. You guys are going to do part C. You're going to set up the proportion, just like I did in parts A and B. Do the cross product and solve using your Desmos scientific calculator. Then you're going to read both boxes down at the bottom in your math notes. Take turns reading the slope ratio and angles and the tangent ratio.